Hey, loves, welcome to the Money Show with Danetha Doe. Today, you're going to meet Linda Calhoun. Linda is the founder and CEO of Career Girls, a global nonprofit that works with young girls in over 230 countries to help them achieve their dreams. You're going to learn more about Career Girls, what led Linda to create Career Girls, and you're going to learn about her former career as a consultant for the World Bank. Be sure to stay tuned to the very end where there'll be a quick money lesson for all of you that are interested in consulting. Linda's going to share some insider tips on how to price your services. Hey, Linda, welcome to the show.
Hey, Danetha, thank you for having me. I love what you do. About the time that things are really kicking off for me with my idea for a nonprofit, Lil Kim and DMX had the song Money, Power, Respect. But I would hear that song, and it was so true. I won't repeat it for PG purposes, but it was really impactful for me. So I wished I'd had a Money Mimosas when I was coming up, because it would have made that even that much more tangible for me. At that time, I was doing consulting, and that had all stemmed from pursuing things that I'm passionate about and really supporting how my nerd girl mind connects and makes relationships with things in the world. And it was about the time when geographic information systems was really coming to the fore and the relational databases behind them. And so I had worked on an international development project in the former Soviet Republic of Kyrgyzstan. And I was, helping them build a land information system to support a real estate market. And they would bring all of the privatization contractors together. And, there were a few women. There was no one black or brown in that room. And I knew then the only reason I was in that room was because of what I was passionate about and my level of educational attainment. And living in the Jim Crow South, none of my grandparents, all four of them, went beyond 8th grade. So, clearly in my family, there was this connection of education is the way to improve your standard of living and have more control and agency over your life. And so, when I was in this room with no one else like me in it, I knew how I got there. But the most important thing was I knew I never wanted to be the only person like me there. And I wanted to reach out to girls everywhere to let them know that combining what you're passionate about in education is a way for you to create a life and a career of your dreams. I got my start working on simple mapping for redistricting, and that's dividing up the political spoils and knowing the composition of a district, and knowing, particularly as it relates to voting rights, minority voting rights, the ability for a minority population to elect a candidate of their choice. The data was really key, understanding down to the census block, the composition of a district, knowing it can't just be the population number, because in minority districts, the population tends to be younger. So you needed to know the voting age population. So it was really understanding those details and that minutia. And I loved that. I loved being able to understand the nuanced story that data can tell, and being able to use data to advocate for fairness and, as it relates to political representation, but also in fairness in terms of where are financial institutions making their investments? Where are they giving loans? I mean, it is a way to hold people accountable for the decisions that they're making. Where are environmentally undesirable projects being cited? Are they in neighborhoods with high populations of non-white people? You're able, with this technology, to be able to pose those questions and understand and hold accountable people who are providing those answers.
We all have our stories. When I was a girl, I asked about taking calculus, and I was told, "Don't worry, you don't need it." That set me back about 10 years. The amount of time it took for me to finally stumble upon my dream career. For some girls, finding the right path is easy. But for most girls, there are many obstacles. At Career Girls, we clear away those obstacles. We close the imagination gap with successful women who've all come together to give back to the next generation of girls, to help them discover their dream career.
With the imagination gap, we want girls to understand, hey, you have an interest in math? Here's what you can do with it. Hey, you like knowing how things work, taking them apart? Here's what you can do with that particular interest or that particular passion. Because you hear very diverse and accomplished women talk about, that's something I did as a child that I bring into the work that I do right now. And so they're really encouraging a girl to look inward. What is it that you like to do right this instant that might be an avenue for you to be able to create a life and a career where you're financially and economically empowered, just based on who you are and your particular viewpoint and perspective on the world, combined with those hard skills, that knowledge that you amass. So we call that the imagination gap. And one of the things that we do to measure the impact of our role model content, of our curriculum, is we ask girls a series of questions before they actually engage, when it's programming that we're doing, before they actually engage with our content. We ask them questions about how they see themselves. We ask them questions about what they know in terms of career possibilities. After an engagement, be it a town hall, be it a virtual camp, we ask them those same questions. And the difference, the delta between how they view themselves and what they know about career possibilities is what we're calling the imagination index. How we're helping to close that gap between understanding, I like to draw. I've just watched a video of someone that's a game designer or an animator, and now I have a better idea of how I could have a career, how I can live, how I can be sustained, because I like to draw. These role models are talking about, this is how you use geometry. This is how you use math. I remember we interviewed a production designer from Tyler Perry Studios, and she goes, I use math all the time. I have to know how to build my models, how much paint to buy, how much wood to buy as I'm building my movie sets.
I am a production designer for film and TV, and a production designer pretty much is responsible for the look of the film. When I'm reading a script, I literally see the sets start to form. So that's the fun part about it for me, is using your imagination to create this 3D environment. I always say, well, why do I need to learn this? 'Cause I'm never going to have to use this stuff in real life. Well, it's not true. I always need to know what's the square footage of this so that I can order carpet, so we can order paint. Always need to know angles of things, the circumference of something, because when you're building things, you always have to know what size it is. I mean, literally, I use math every day.
I'm curious how you have, if you have a particular experience where you can point to how you tapped into your inner child, your imagination.
Very much so. As you were even posing the question, I was thinking about being in fourth grade and taking a field trip to the United Nations. I will never forget seeing all those flags on the plaza at the UN. Because also at that time, I was collecting flags and stamps from all over. I even had a pen pal. I don't remember from where out of the country. I remember just, where's the mail? Where's my letter? So this notion of being part of a global community and being able to participate, on a stage like that, was something that I always wanted and was always interested in. And I got to tell you, when the opportunity came to work, first as an elections observer, that was just an amazing experience. I mean, just before I left on the observing gig, I was at an event and the ambassador to the U.S. from South Africa said, for all of you in the international community, we welcome you to observe our elections. You will be midwives at the birth of democracy, and always democracy. Okay, so I was done. I was totally done.
Amazing.
I know. So, I mean, here I was getting this affirmation. And then to be 2 years later working in Kyrgyzstan and really supporting a local community that wanted to make their own transition to a market economy, and bringing in the elements that made sense, from a market economy, but also with their own cultural traditions, the focus on the collective, just caring for one another. I remember every day one person would be responsible for providing lunch for the team so that, it wasn't a burden on everyone every day. I mean, just, bringing in that local context and knowledge, and just working shoulder to shoulder with people who were building their own society. To be a person, dropped in from another country, another culture, and to be able to work collectively, that satisfied that need in me as a child, to want to have global connections, to want to make the world better. And I got to tell you, with the fact that I wanted Career Girls to be a global resource for that girl who is just like me, wherever she is, knowing there's a greater world out there and wanting to be a part of it, that the 10 million users that we've had that have come to our website, they come from 232 countries and territories worldwide. So it's just incredibly gratifying that we can provide a resource that speaks to, girls around the world.
Where can folks find out more about Career Girls?
It's so simple. Go to careergirls.org. We are a free career exploration and readiness website. No login, no sign in. We don't collect emails unless you want to share them. But you can just start driving. You can see video of women role models that we've interviewed. You can see all of our career prep information about, what that job entails, the skills to develop. Then you can also see the sample undergraduate courses that you would need in order to earn a bachelor's degree related to that career, always speaking to that first generation college student. And then for educators, we know that our role models, are sharing that real life context for what you want to impart to your students. So we want to make it as easy as possible for a teacher, a school counselor, a parent, a mentor to be able to use the incredible insights that we get from women role models like yourself, to support the programming and lesson plans or activities that they're trying to impart with girls in their program or classroom.
I want to switch gears a little bit now to the financial piece. Can you walk me through, as a consultant, how you went about determining your pricing? Because that can be really tricky, especially if it's your first consulting opportunity.
It's research. It's really straight up research. I knew for the work that an organization would need to start the design and the sourcing of elements for a database, you would be working with a big consulting firm. And, you can find out what a consulting firm charges, if their hourly rate is, X hundreds of dollars, that knowledge can't be accessed if you go that route for less than that amount. And then depending on your circumstance, you can price yourself competitively. Also knowing, I'm self-supporting, I'm taking a risk. One of the things that I asked for was, we had a scope of work and I wanted 25% of the value of the work that we have agreed to do at signing. But this is where your research and your knowledge is key. If they want to get the work done, you need to understand what are the alternatives and what are the resources available to get work like that done. And you simply price yourself accordingly. And what I found is if you're an aspirin, people are very open to saying, okay, yeah, if you can fix this. And, as Black women, we get this a lot. I mean, I see, and, it's talked about when something is a mess or it's blown up or it's a problem, yes, we'll give Black women the opportunity to fix it and make the problem go away. And that's fine. But, we need to be thinking more in terms of, well, what does that mean in terms of reward? Is there ownership? Are there stock options? Are there investments in, Black founded, Black led enterprises? So I think those are the questions to ask to leverage, the knowledge that we bring to a situation, that we bring to cleaning up a situation, to be able to build wealth for ourselves and our communities and our families.
Thanks for tuning into today's show. If you want more information on stock options and pricing your services as a consultant, be sure to head on over to moneymimosas.com. We have lots of information to guide you in those areas. And while you're there, be sure to check out our paid membership program, the Money Makers, where you'll get access to financial experts that can give you even more financial insider information. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.